right, welcome back to the PCC podcast. And today I've got an interesting episode that I didn't, I don't know, it just kind of came to me on a whim, and I was like, let me just do some reflecting. And so, if you're listening to this, I hope that you gain some value from it, even though this episode really is like kind of a journal entry for me, because this week I'm recording this on April 28th. My birthday's on the 30th, and I am turning 29, my last year of my 20s this year. And I wanted to share some lessons from year 28. Now, I was really overzealous at first, and I was like, I'm going to find 29 lessons for year 29 or 28 lessons from year 28. I got to like 8, and I was like, I don't think I have that many. But I did come up with 11, and I think that they are meaningful. So, in no particular order, these are my lessons from year 28 that I hope inspire you or help you in some way. And actually, I said no particular order, but for the first 2 or 3, I would say that those are probably the top 3, with number 1 being absolutely number 1. And number 1 is to depend on God. So I actually, in year 28, I got baptized. And that was something that I just never even thought of for so many years. I grew up Christian in the church, but just kind of lukewarm, never really serious about anything. But I've been very vocal and transparent about how 2024 was a really tough year. 2025 wasn't easy. And really the turnaround point of 2025 was of turning things over to God, depending on Him, and just putting more into my faith with my journey there. And really what I learned from year 28, pretty much the whole year of that year, was a struggle, whether that was mentally, emotionally, spiritually for sure. And then I think financially was a big one. I had to depend on Him a lot. And He had my back through everything, through thick and thin. And we were more than blessed for the year 28 because I put my faith in Him and just depended on Him for anything and everything. So that's number 1. And I think it should be number 1 at the very top of the list, because it is the most important. It's the anchor for everything else. And, whether you believe in Christianity or you believe in another religion, or if you don't believe in anything at all, I think I'm not going to spend this entire podcast talking about religion. What I will say is having a spiritual grounding anchor, having something that you believe in that's bigger than yourself, can bring a lot of peace. And I am the first person to over intellectualize the idea of faith, because the idea of faith is that it should not be something that you understand. It's something that you just do. You just have it, or you don't. I'm really bad at that. I want to understand every piece of it. And where was I going with that? But essentially, I was just thinking that yes. So even from a just logical perspective, having faith in something, having faith that it's all going to work out, having faith that whatever you're going through is for a bigger cause, having faith that it's part of a bigger plan, a bigger purpose that you don't have control over. It's not about not having free will, but it's about knowing that what you're going through, if it's a hard time, is meaningful. And so all I will say is I think that there is a psychological utility to faith. And yes, I cannot believe that I say that out loud, but that is something that I remind myself a lot, is even if I have doubts, because every believer has their own doubts. When we wonder, is any of this even real, right? Is that what I always like to default to is what's most useful for me? What's actually going to help me versus hurt me? And the most useful thing for me to do is to believe that what I'm going through is for a greater purpose, a greater cause, is going to teach me lessons, is meaningful, right? Versus being nihilistic and just saying none of this matters. So take that for what you will. even if you don't believe in anything, I think that there's a logistical utility to it. But obviously, it's much deeper than that. So number 2, and then this will be it for all of the faith-based things, is what you pray for, you receive. And it was really cool to see God show up in a lot of areas of our life. We prayed for people to show up in our life. We prayed for finances. We prayed for opportunities. We prayed for the right wisdom, discernment to make the right call. And we received it, never in the way we expected to, but we always received it. And so that was really, really cool to see the power of it. And again, from my neuroscience side, my psychology side, it's like, to me, it kind of mirrors the law of attraction. As if you're consistently praying for something, you're putting it out there, you're speaking it into existence, and then your consciousness will attend to creating that and making that happen. But then, of course, from a faith side, we look at it from we pray for it, and we don't have control over the outcome, and we're blessed with whatever the outcome actually is. And so I think whether you are secular or you are faith-based, I think putting your wants and needs out there is a useful thing to do, whether that's journaling, prayer, etc. But if you are a believer, I think it's very worthwhile to pray for something, leave the way that it happens in the hands of God, and just pray for it, work for it, and trust that the right timing and outcomes will come. Okay. Then number 3. Okay. So if you are not religious, that's it. Nothing else there. Okay. Number 3 is following through on tiny promises to yourself. Matters and builds exponentially. I believe that I really started accepting tiny habits, behaviors, promises, being a good first starting step for myself when my confidence was at its lowest, when my mental health was at its lowest, probably in early 2025. So around the time that I turned 28. And things like getting 7,000 steps per day, when before maybe I had easily gotten 10, or drinking a certain amount of water, or committing to a small habit every single day, and making my word actually mean something, actually following through on the small things and letting that be a win, and allowing that to build on itself. Because now, I talk about this all the time, I'm hitting 12,000 steps per day, no problem. I'm drinking over a gallon of water per day. I'm hitting my macros every day. I'm getting my strength training in. And when I say I'm going to do something, I follow through, not perfectly, but most of the time, because of the foundation that I built there. And that's the principles we use with our clients. That's the principles that really matter in every single area of life. And I think just with health and fitness, we struggle to give ourselves the permission to start tiny and start small, when really it is the right path forward. Lesson number 4 is that hard conversations move you forward. And that goes for marriage, that goes for work, that goes for mentorships, and any relationship that you have. And 2025, I can't say that there were such hard conversations that I had to have in this year of 28. But I mean, small, difficult, uncomfortable conversations, and continuing to have those. Speaking up for myself when I didn't feel heard or seen, or having to fire someone, or having to set really strong expectations with people, having hard conversations that set boundaries, hold boundaries, or, follow through on uncomfortable things. They move you forward. And every single time that I've had a hard conversation in this past year of my life, I have only been happy after the fact. Lesson number 5 is there are people out there who genuinely want you to win. And it's so funny that this was like a lesson I had to learn, because I genuinely want other people to win. So why wouldn't other people want me to win? Crazy. But I really realized that with my team, my staff, they want me to succeed just as That's just as much as they want themselves to succeed, which says a lot because, I mean, everyone is out for themselves. But at the end of the day, to see that genuineness come through in the team that we have is really cool. My mentor, I originally gave her a pretty hard time because I was like, there's no way she's like a good person. Even though, let me tell you, I paid her $20,000. And I was still like, I don't know, like just skeptical, nervous, scared to trust. And that happens, right? Like I'm sure there's clients in our program who sign up and still have their fears and their doubts because they've been burned before. And it took me a good 6 months to warm up to my mentor and really believe like, wow, she really has my back. Like she really remembers these things about me, knows me, and cares, even if she's not perfect. So that my fitness coach that I just rehired as well. And of course, the people in my life. I'm grateful to have friends that actually want me to win. They don't get silent when things start going well for me. And I think that's because I've chosen I've been selective and picky with people. But that is by design. But it is something I'm grateful for. Lesson number 6 would be you can change your relationship with finances and money. 28 was a big turnaround year for my own personal finances. And I will say I have not struggled with debt. I'm really grateful for that. However, this idea of investing and allocation was this scary thing that I was like, I don't think I'll ever understand this. Maybe wealth is for other people. Maybe net worth is for other people, but not for me. Too complicated for me. And literally, all I did in year 28 was start a high yield savings account and made more serious and regular contributions to our IRAs and 401ks. And it's been a game changer. Like we put a lot of money away for our future, for our well-being, for a safety net. And it's been a game changer to see how that has also rewired my relationship with money to be in less scarcity, in less lack. And if I could give anyone any advice, like I just really thought that all of this stuff was way over my head. It's really just as simple as at the end of the month, where do you put your money? That's what allocation is. And to start the account, even if you don't have a lot to put in it, if you put in a small amount every single month, it will build faster than you realize. And then there's that cool compounding interest thing, which is so cool. So I think just don't be intimidated by that. And if you haven't started on that yet, I would definitely get in my head of like, oh, I'm behind, I'm too late, like everyone's ahead of me. But the truth is I'm still in my 20s and we got a really good start on that. And really, really grateful for taking the step there. And I actually have my mentor to thank for that because she doesn't just care about my business growing. She cares about my financial well-being as a human being, which is really cool. Okay. Then being low maintenance. Number 7, being low maintenance is not a cute flex. I, for the longest time, thought that like never getting my nails done, only living in athleisure, having my hair stay messy, not doing skincare, never wearing sunscreen. Like I thought that was like a cute flex. But really, it's just people pleasing in disguise. It's literally just trying to make yourself small to be more palatable, to be more likable, to be less a lot to others. And I noticed this in women and friends that I have, people that I follow that do the most, right? Maybe they get their nails done all the time, their hair's always done, their makeup's always done, they have all these clothes, they look really nice, they have the car, whatever. And I would notice myself not hating on them. Never been a hateful person, but just thinking to myself like, good for her, that's not for me. But really that was just a projection of like, I just didn't think that I could have that level of confidence or self-worth. And so the biggest step that I took in year 28 was I got my nose done. I took the plunge on a surgery that I have been talking about for literally a decade, if not more. Actually, probably longer, probably like 15 years. And a lot of people didn't know that. They thought I just got a no job out of the blue, but like it has been something that has been on my mind for 15 years. And getting laser hair removal is something that I've done for a while now. Getting my nails done, starting to do that. Curling my hair, right? Investing in yourself. Me hiring my fitness coach and working on my physique, even though I'm plenty fit, plenty healthy, but I want more out of it. And that's not selfish. It's not egotistical. It's just not people pleasing. It's just not making yourself small for other people's comfort. So that's number 7. Number 8 is sobriety is cool. This is obviously becoming more popular now, but as of now, I think the last alcoholic drink I have had would have been January 1st or December 31st of 2024 going into 2025. So it's been about 15 to 17 months since I've had a drink. And I've never really drank a lot. Don't get me wrong. Like I've always, ever since literally I got into high school, I've been fitness gung ho, didn't even drink or party in college. And I just never really had a relationship with alcohol that was hard to get away from. But all that to say, I made a firmer decision slowly over time that just like every time the opportunity to drink came up, I was just like, I don't feel like it. And then over time, it just became this streak of like, oh, I haven't had a drink in that long. Like, who's to say that I actually need one now? And so, and it's been cool to see that time span just expand and expand and expand. And I think there's a certain pride with like following through on not indulging. Not that I really have any judgment towards people who enjoy a drink here and there. It's fine. That's their prerogative. It just does absolutely nothing for me. And even though it's like, it's nice to feel a little tipsy and buzzed, my mental health tanks afterwards. I sleep terribly. I get moody the next day. Typically I'll break out after, and it's just not worth it. So I'm not saying I'll never drink again. I do actually have a plan. When we go to Korea, I will drink alcohol in Korea because that's a huge part of the culture. But outside of that, like I just don't see that being a part of my life. And I just see it as something that I'm like proud of continuing. So if you've ever felt the push to go on a little sober streak, give it a try. Number 9 is stop rationalizing mediocre. And I will say, I think this is a spin-off or like a tangent off of number 7, being low maintenance is an acute flex. But I think with this one, it's more so for my fitness. For the longest time, I would just say, I love my body. I don't care to change it. I'm plenty fit, plenty happy with it. All of that is 100% true. I am not upset with the body that I have. I can wear crop tops, a bathing suit, tight clothes, whatever, feel great. However, I have always felt like I've been scratching at the surface but I want to take it farther. I want to go even one layer deeper. I want to be even more exceptional, because it's not about the weight on the scale. It's about what that reflection says about the standards that you have. How that reflection shows what your values are and your consistency levels and how dedicated you are. And I think what that gives you internally, what following through to that degree gives you internally. And so my lesson learned is if you want it all, it's not too much. Again, downplaying it could be people pleasing in disguise. And freaking go for it. Play bigger. That's the main reason that I hired a coach going into this cut, because I want to make it count. Number 10, this is an important one, is stay connected to your roots. My roots in my career here is being evidence-based, actually reading research, being a nerd, actually knowing how the systems of the body work, and not falling victim to pseudoscience or gimmicks or trends or fads. And lately there's been so much of that. I'm not saying that things like GLP-1s or peptides or the things that have been popular lately are wrong, but they are new and they are hot. And so as an evidence-based practitioner, it is my responsibility and duty to get into what's really true about these things. And I really just didn't pay attention to that for a while. I was focused on business, I was focused on growing, scaling, learning leadership, learning sales, learning marketing, all of which is important. But in the process, lost the reason that I really love this in the first place. I love nerding out. I love knowing unnecessarily deep levels of detail about behavior change and psychology and fitness and nutrition. And I forgot a lot of what I knew. And so I resubscribed to a research review recently that I used to always listen to and read. I started listening to old podcasts that I used to listen to all the time for updated research. And I started really just immersing myself more in that part of the industry again, because I want to do the best service I possibly can to my clients. And I can't do that if I'm not also learning and in the student role as well. Number 11, this is the last one, is pretty simple. Take more time off. If you have, especially if you own a business and you don't give yourself time off, you have a job, not a business. And that quote really stung me a few times before I realized I need to give myself some space. And so as I'm recording this week, I took this week off of doing client check-ins because that takes up a majority of my Monday, Tuesday, and pretty much half of Wednesday as well, because I have a decent roster of active clients that I work with. I'm not taking any new clients. I haven't taken new clients in a long time, but my people don't go anywhere. They love to stick around. So with that being said, I've got a deep roster and we run strong. With that being said, it's 3 days of my workday that is pretty much go, 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 service, service, service. And with that, there's no give on my bedtime, my wake up time. There's no give on taking some time to go for a walk. It's pretty go, go, go. And I wanted to give myself some space to catch up on fun stuff like this, take some time off for my birthday this weekend, and just doing that more regularly. Going to Korea this year, actually taking a 2-week vacation. And in the past couple of years, I finally started to do that, but honestly, not as much as I should. And so like little 3-day weekends here and there, taking a day off, unplugging, how you get productive in whatever you want to do is having a balance between working hard in a focused manner and resting, not running yourself into the ground and feeling like more is going to be the answer, because at a certain point you burn out. So those are my 11 lessons from year 28. And let me know. I would love to hear if you listened to this episode, what you resonated with, what you maybe learned about me, about yourself, and about what you want to take into your next year, your next trip around the sun as well. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your attention, taking the time to spend this time with me, and I'll see you back here next week for the next episode.